There's a moment in every wedding when time stops, the lights dim, a saxophone breeze, and then a voice so pure, so impossibly high, it doesn't seem human fills the room. 4 octaves, one song, you. For millions, that voice belongs to Jesse Powell, the man who gave the world the ultimate love song. But here's the paradox that haunts his story. Most people know the song by heart, but they don't know the man who bled into every note. This is the story of a legend who walked away, a voice that deserved stadiums but settled for silence, and a tragic end that came too soon. If you love stories that reveal the truth behind the music, don't forget to like and subscribe to Legends Underrated. Now, let's step into Jesse Powell's world. Gary, Indiana, September 12, 1970. The same streets that birthed the Jackson 5 welcomed another future voice. Jesse Powell was born into a household where music wasn't just heard, it was lived. His mother, Emerald, possessed a voice that people swore sounded like Sade, and Anita Baker had a baby. Smooth as silk, deep as gospel, powerful as thunder. His younger sisters, Trina and Tamra, could harmonize before they could spell. His brother Jacob carried melodies like second nature. The Powell home wasn't just a house, it was a recording studio without the equipment, a concert hall without the stage. Every dinner table conversation could break into song. Every car ride became a rehearsal. But Jesse was different. According to his sisters, the voice he had as a child was identical to the one he'd used to seduce the world decades later. No cracks, no breaks, no awkward puberty shift, just perfection from day one, like he was born with vocal cords made of gold thread. By age 7, Jesse had already formed a family group, leading his siblings through talent shows across Indiana. Picture this: 4 kids, dressed in matching outfits, their mothers sewed by hand, taking stages at churches, community centers, high school gymnasiums. They won, a lot. First place became their norm. The audiences couldn't believe what they were hearing, especially when Jesse opened his mouth. That high register, that control, that emotion pouring out of a child who barely understood heartbreak yet, and they grew up under the long shadow of the Jackson 5. Gary's most famous export, living proof that even small-town kids could reach the world if their talent was undeniable. Jesse watched Michael Jackson's every move. He studied the footwork, the stage presence, the way Michael could make 50,000 people feel like he was singing just to them. Jesse learned, Jesse absorbed, and Jesse dreamed bigger than Gary could contain. High school came and went. Jesse graduated, but college wasn't calling his name. Music was screaming it. So, after graduation, Jesse made a choice that would define his life. He packed his bags and moved to Kansas City, Missouri, chasing the dream with nothing but his voice and hunger in his pocket. No safety net, no backup plan, just faith and talent. He sang with a local band, night after night, honing his craft in smoky rooms where only true believers showed up. Dimly lit clubs where the audience was more interested in their drinks than the singer. But Jesse kept singing. He kept perfecting every run, every note, every emotional inflection. And then fate stepped in, wearing the face of opportunity. Jesse met Carl Rowland, a musician with connections and vision, who saw something special in him. He also hooked up with Damon Thomas, a young producer with big dreams who later formed the legendary production team known as the Underdogs. They became a trio, brothers in ambition. They rehearsed together, wrote together, pushed each other to be better. When Carl and Damon decided to move to Los Angeles to take their careers to the next level, Jesse begged them to take him along. He didn't just ask, he pleaded. He knew LA was where stars were born, where dreams became platinum records. They agreed, and just like that, Jesse Powell was California bound. Los Angeles in the early 90s was a jungle, glittering, dangerous, and packed with talent. Everyone wanted to make it, and only the exceptional survived. The streets were filled with singers who could hit notes, rappers who could spit bars, producers who could craft hits. Competition was ruthless. Jesse started working on his demo, pouring every ounce of skill into those recordings. He sang in small venues, made connections, networked at industry parties. And around 1992, his manager slipped that demo tape into the hands of Louis Silas Jr., a record executive with a golden ear and a track record that spoke for itself. Louis ran Silas Records, an imprint under MCA Records, and he'd already signed and developed some serious talent: Aaron Hall, Shantae Moore, Keith Washington. This man knew voices. He'd worked with Babyface, Bobby Brown, Pebbles, Patti LaBelle. When he heard Jesse's voice coming through the speakers, he didn't need to hear it twice. He didn't need a second opinion. He signed him on the spot. Jesse Powell, the kid from Gary, Indiana, now had a major label deal. The dream was becoming real. But Jesse didn't rush into stardom. He was smart. He understood the game. He became a writer first, learning the craft from the inside out. He penned constantly for the group. Immature, a song that would go gold in 1994 and become a staple of 90s R&B. He wrote for the legendary Isley Brothers, crafting songs for men who'd been making hits since before he was born. He worked with Angela Winbush, Ray Parker Jr., artists who respected the craft. Jesse was building his foundation, one song at a time, proving he wasn't just a voice, he was a musician, a storyteller, an artist with depth. And then, on March 12, 1996, Jesse Powell's self-titled debut album dropped into the world. It charted respectably number 35 on the R&B chart, number 32 on the Heatseekers chart. His first single, All I Need, peaked at number 20 on the R&B chart. Not bad for a debut. Critics praised his vocal ability, noting the impressive range and emotional delivery. But it wasn't the earthquake the label hoped for. Then came Gloria, a cover of the 1976 Enchantment classic. Jesse took that song and made it his own, infusing it with his signature falsetto, his vulnerability. It hit number 51, R&B, solid, respectable, but still not the moment that would define his career. The album was good. Jesse's voice was undeniable. Industry insiders took notice. But something was missing: timing, the perfect storm of song, moment, and audience alignment. Lightning doesn't strike on command. Not yet, but there was a song on that first album, a ballad tucked among the other tracks. Quiet, aching, devastatingly beautiful. It was called You. Jesse had written it 5 years earlier, sitting alone with his thoughts and his heartbreak, pouring everything he felt into the lyrics and melody. The label loved it so much they included it on the debut. But when they released it as a single in 1996, it barely made a sound. Radio didn't bite. The public didn't notice. The song died quietly, and Jesse moved on. Disappointed but not defeated, he went back to the studio. He started working on his second album, determined to prove he belonged in the conversation. On September 8th, 1998, Bout It arrived. The lead single, I Wasn't With It, became his first Hot 100 entry, number 85 pop, number 25 R&B, Progress. The album topped the Heatseekers chart. Jesse was building momentum, gaining traction. But then, someone at the label had an idea, a brilliant, career-defining idea. What if they re-released You? What if they gave that song another chance? So in February 1999, you hit radio again. And this time, everything was different. This time, the world was ready. The song started climbing, slowly at first, then faster. Radio stations couldn't ignore the requests. DJs kept it in rotation, and then it exploded. Number 2 on the R&B chart, number 10 on the Hot 100, gold certification, Grammy nomination. Jesse Powell had finally, undeniably, arrived. The song became more than a hit, it became a cultural phenomenon. It was the soundtrack to slow dances, first kisses, marriage proposals, wedding receptions across every race, every culture, every background. Legendary saxophonist Gerald Albright played that smooth, crying sax solo that made grown men weep and women close their eyes and sway. The instrumental break became iconic, and on the background vocals, Jesse's sisters, Trina and Tamara, his brother Jacob, and his mother Emerald, he kept it in the family, turning his biggest moment into a family triumph. Stories like these are why I built Legends Underrated. Make sure you're subscribed for more untold tales. You was more than a song. It was a feeling bottled in 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Jesse's 4-octave range floated over the production like he was singing from another dimension, somewhere between earth and heaven. The falsetto wasn't just technique, it was vulnerability, longing, devotion, desperation. You could hear his soul in every syllable. Every wedding DJ in America added it to their rotation. Every couple planning their special day made sure you was on the playlist. And Jesse finally had his moment. The Bout It album went gold. He was on tour, performing in arenas, seeing his face on magazine covers. He was doing TV appearances, interviews, radio shows. He was living the dream he chased from Gary to Kansas City to Los Angeles. But here's the thing about the music industry that nobody warns you about. It's never satisfied. One hit is never enough. They wanted another you. They wanted 10 more. And Jesse, he just wanted to make music. His guys did it that felt honest, that came from a real place. The pressure was mounting. The label wanted hits. Jesse wanted art. That tension would define everything that came next. By the time Jesse released his third album, JP, on March 27th, 2001, the landscape had shifted dramatically. The music industry was changing. Radio formats were evolving. New artists were flooding the market. The album peaked at number 18 on the R&B chart, number 71 on the Billboard 200. Respectable numbers, but not the smash the label demanded. Singles like If I and Something in the Past barely made noise, number 58 R&B and number 67 R&B, respectively. Radio had moved on to the next big thing. The audience had moved on. And Jesse was exhausted, tired of the politics, the compromises, the constant pressure to recreate magic on command. In 2002, after Silas Records merged into MCA, Jesse left the label. He signed with a joint venture between Riviera Records, D3 Entertainment, and Monopoly Music. Smaller operations with less pressure, less expectation, less machinery grinding behind him. On October 14th, 2003, his fourth and final album, Jesse, dropped into a market that barely noticed. Singles By the Way and Touching It Tonight barely cracked the R&B chart, number 99 and number 85 respectively. No promotion, no budget, no machine pushing the music to the masses. And after that album, Jesse Powell made a decision that shocked everyone who knew him. He walked away from the music business completely. No farewell tour, No dramatic announcement, he just stopped. He was done with the industry that had given him everything and taken just as much. Jesse disappeared into Los Angeles, living a quiet life, far from the spotlight that had once illuminated him. He stopped doing interviews. He stopped performing. He lived privately, peacefully, on his own terms. TV One's Unsung, the show that profiled forgotten R&B legends, reached out to him multiple times for an episode. They wanted to tell his story, to give him flowers. He declined every time, not because he was bitter, not because he regretted his career, but because he didn't see himself as unsung. He'd had his moment. He'd given the world you. He touched millions of lives with his voice. That was enough. He didn't need validation from a television show or the industry that had exhausted him. For 18 years, Jesse lived in peace, away from the cameras, the interviews, the politics, the machinery of fame. He was content, or at least that's what people assumed. But on September 13th, 2022, one day after his 52nd birthday, Jesse Powell passed away peacefully at his Los Angeles home. His sister Tamara announced the heartbreaking news on Instagram, her words heavy with grief. She asked for privacy as the family mourned and celebrated his everlasting legacy. No cause of death was initially disclosed. The family kept those details private, as was their right. But months later, Wikipedia would list the cause as a methamphetamine overdose, citing Los Angeles County records. The family never confirmed it publicly. They never addressed it. And perhaps that's how Jesse would have wanted it private until the end. Jesse was gone, and the world mourned the loss of a voice that could never be replaced. His sisters, Trina and Tamara, continued to honor his legacy, keeping his memory alive through their music and their work. They released a book called The Sister Friend Journey, sharing stories of their lives, their struggles, their triumphs. They speak his name with love and reverence. And You, that song still plays at weddings, at reunions, in cars late at night when people need to feel something real, something honest, something pure. Jesse Powell was 52 years old when he left this world. He gave us one of the most beautiful love songs ever recorded, a piece of music that will outlive us all. He had a 4-octave range that most singers can only dream of achieving. He wrote hits for other artists, crafted an album that went gold, earned a Grammy nomination. And yet, he's still underrated, still overlooked, still waiting for the flowers he truly deserved. His story is a reminder that talent isn't always rewarded with longevity, that success doesn't guarantee happiness, and that sometimes the most beautiful voices carry the heaviest burdens. If you never want to miss stories like this, subscribe to Legends Underrated today. Jesse Powell's voice lives on in every wedding, every first dance, every moment when love needs a soundtrack. And so does his story, a story of triumph, retreat, and a legacy that refuses to fade.